live on the air. I'm Richard Saile.
This is wild.
Hello, welcome back to another episode of Lounge Time. I'm your host, Rich Saile, and today is one of my favorite episodes of the year. This was a big hit last year on the channel. It is time for my March Madness episode. Yes, it's finally here. I do have a live reaction to CBS revealing each of the four regions on Selection Sunday, and I am picking my bracket like I did last year. For those of you that do not remember, it was a 90% bracket. We had, I want to say it was 3 of the final 4 teams. We almost had the exact matchup, but we had the winner. Can we make it 2 in a row where we stay on fire? Now, for those of you that do not remember the March Madness episode, and those that are new watching to the channel and this episode, I start by reacting to CBS revealing the bracket for Selection Sunday, because I have thoughts that I think when the bracket's getting revealed live, I think that's something unique. Then I make my predictions on the ESPN Tournament Challenge. These are all my picks that I do. And I give my picks, and then we move on to me reacting to the next region, and then me doing the next round of picks on ESPN Tournament Challenge. So basically it goes me reacting to the Selection Sunday bracket live. Then we go to Tournament Challenge, where I make the same picks off that region based on my own bracket and how I see it playing out. Then we move on to the next region, all the way up until we go to the Final Four, where they don't really reveal the Final Four because that actually has to be played out throughout the multiple weeks of the March Madness tournament. So after the last region, I go straight into my Final Four predictions, and I give my national championship winner. And then what I'm going to do at the end is I'm going to do my guarantees that I have. We have a lot of plays for the first round. For the second round and stuff, I will make a small little video going over plays. I have to see how Thursday and Friday play out, but that is going to be the rundown for the show. We have a lot of first round plays, but I want to give a special shout out to someone who gave me a shout out when I was on vacation, and I'm going to give this guy a shout out because he is one of the really, really good basketball content creators on YouTube, and he gave me a shout out when I was on vacation. Shout out to Lucky Sparrow 777. If you want to follow NBA news, some interesting analysis, follow him. He is really, really good, gets straight to the point, and he's got a lot of good videos where he gets ahead of the curve on a lot of NBA trends and teams that are doing well, not doing well. Highly recommend giving him a follow. Thank you for the shout out on YouTube. Hopefully, you guys can give him a support because he gave me a shout out on the channel. I had to give him a shout out before I did this video. Anyway, without further ado, the moment you guys have all been waiting for. Let's get to my March Madness bracket and the live reaction on Selection Sunday. Oh my God, guys. All right, it's time. I can't wait to pick my bracket. Let's see who they reveal first. If I had to pick, I'm going to guess it's Duke. They won the ACC. Yeah, this makes sense. Shocker. Not even surprised.
After losing all 5 starters from last year's Final Four team to the NBA draft,
Let's see.
30 wins for the 18th time behind ACC Player of the Year, Cameron Boozer. They're on their way to Greenville, South Carolina, where they will face Siena.
Duke still wins by 25. I'm not even wasting time with this.
First time since 2010 as champions of the Metro Atlantic Athletic Conference.
Duke wins by 20.
Also, Thursday in Greenville, the 8th seed, Ohio
Ooh, I think they're overseeded a little bit. 8 seed? I don't know about that. That's way too high. Bruce Thornton, though, is nice. Oh!
11 conference wins, their most in a season.
Oh, TCU, this is... Oh.
In San Diego, the 5 seed. St. John's.
A 5 for winning the Big East. Wow. I'm not sold. Their best 2 wins are against Connecticut. That's their best 2 wins.
And Northern Iowa is in the tournament for the first time.
I don't know much about Northern Iowa. I know years ago they used to be really, really good, but I don't know. I still think St. John's wins. TCU will give Duke a game in the Sweet 16. Wow, they don't even have a reaction, Northern Iowa. What the fuck?
In San Diego Friday, Kansas extending its record 36.
If we get St. John's, Kansas in the second round, that's going to be fun to watch. Darren Peterson,
Cal Baptist, the Lancers make their first appearance in the final year.
Cal Baptist has no chance against Kansas. Please. Please.
Of the East region, games in Buffalo.
Okay, my first team I'm ready to fade. Who do they get? They're not that good.
Against the 11 seed, South Florida.
Yes! I am fading Louisville. Yes!
For the first time.
Brian Hodgson's a good coach. Yes. First upset of the day I see.
Michigan State. Tom Izzo extends his record to 28 straight NCAA tournaments.
I'm not betting against Izzo. I'm not betting against Izzo. I don't think they could shoot threes, but they'll win games.
The 14 seed, the North Dakota State Bison, who beat North Dakota to win the
They don't even lose sleep over this. They're not even losing sleep over this. Michigan's got a nice path to the Sweet 16. They beat South Florida or Louisville, and then they get to the Sweet 16.
UCLA.
Mick Cronin's got to go all the way to Philadelphia. Watch him complain about that. I don't like this team, really.
UCF Knights as
Ew, this matchup stinks. Ew, UCF did not impress me in the last month at all. This is a shitty matchup. Ew. I mean, UCLA will win if Donovan Dent and Bilodeau are healthy, but ew.
the 2 seed, the national champions from 2 and 3 years ago, winning 18 straight.
Makes sense geographically. But Duke UConn in the East, I mean, that'll be fun just for history's sake. So, I mean, they blew their chance to win a 1 seed, but makes sense. Makes sense.
And the 15 seed, they will face the Furman Paladins, who are the 6th seed in the Southern
Please.
Conference.
If they don't beat Furman, the sky's falling up there in stores. I'm telling you right now. I don't see UCLA upsetting UConn. I don't. I mean, I think it's Michigan State, UConn in the Sweet 16. South Florida definitely pulls the upset on Louisville. That's one of my favorite ones, even with or without Michael Brown Jr.
What stands out?
Well, a potential matchup with St. John's and Kansas.
Guys, this is going to be a bad take. Duke has a really easy region. TCU will give them a fight. They won't win. St. John's, I am not there yet in them beating Duke. Kansas, Darren Peterson or bust. That's what it is. I don't know what's wrong with them. I can't figure them out. They just got blown up by Houston. Duke should get to the Final Four. I mean, UConn going wrong way. UCLA, 2 guys banged out. Michigan State can't shoot threes. I mean, come on, man. This is not a tough path at all. This is not a tough path at all, man. No way. Ooh, I'm starting to like South Florida. Upset a lot on Louisville. Even if Michael Brown Jr. comes back or not, I still like South Florida.
UCLA, Donovan Dent, is he going to be okay to play at the top of the bracket? Michael Brown, what is his health status? And of course, with 6'11", it's always
All right, so we have the East. It's time to go pick the East region. Let's get it.
All right, guys, now it is time to pick my official 2026 March Madness bracket. We are going to start with the East region, the number 1 overall seed, Duke Blue Devils, getting by the Siena Saints. This is not even a pick in my mind, doubt in my mind. Duke beats Siena. Ohio State TCU in the 8-9 game. Usually these games are a coin flip. I am going to go Bruce Thornton against a really good TCU team. This is a tough one. I'm going to go with TCU because I've watched TCU against Kansas in the Big 12 tournament. They put on a really good show. They played some of the tough teams really tough in the tournament in years past. I remember Gonzaga 3 years ago in the second round where they lost. Arizona, they made them sweat a couple years ago too. Jamie Dixon's team, for those of you that haven't watched TCU well enough, this is a team to not sleep on. I think TCU gets by Ohio State and gets to the second round. Let's move now to the 5-12 matchup where we have St. John's taking on Northern Iowa. Now, there's room to pick a 12 against a 5. I just don't know if I like it in this bracket. St. John's, Zuby Ejiofor, the guards are a little questionable. I do like Bryce Hopkins and Dylan Darling that can shoot the 3. I just think, to me, St. John's should take care of business against Northern Iowa. I expect them to. I just don't know how Northern Iowa is going to beat St. John's unless you completely wall up in the paint and you make them shoot 3s. Even though I just don't think they're going to score much on them, I'm going to take St. John's to get to the second round. Let's move down a little bit further now to Kansas and Cal Baptist. Darren Peterson being healthy is the one thing that worries me with Kansas. I am still going to take Kansas against Cal Baptist because I just feel like that they're deeper than people want to say they are. Melvin Council, guys, I've watched a lot of Kansas this year. He won them some big games this season. NC State, notably, where he dropped darn near 40 in overtime. My, oh my, this team is deep. Badunga is really good as a big. I just need to see what version of Kansas I'm getting, and I'm going to worry about that when I get to the second round picking matchups. Louisville and South Florida in the 6-11 game. I am declaring this my first upset of the bracket. South Florida is going to upset Louisville, even with Michael Brown Jr. Guarantee. South Florida is the first upset in my bracket. I don't think Louisville is going to have Michael Brown Jr. in this game. Louisville has good guard play, but their front court really will be a problem. South Florida, I do think, is going to make Louisville struggle. And I think that Brian Hodgson is going to be a coaching star. He's going to get some offers from some mid-level jobs in some of the high conferences. I just think South Florida is a team I can definitely see winning in the 6-11 spot. Give me South Florida Bulls to upset Louisville. Let's go to the bottom half of this bracket now, where we have Michigan State taking on North Dakota State. I mean, listen, guys. I said it last year, and I'm going to back it up once again. I am never betting against Tom Izzo until I have a team I absolutely feel confident that can beat Michigan State. Easy pick here, Michigan State. UCLA, UCF. Okay, for those filling out brackets, keep an eye on the status of Donovan Dent and Tyler Bilodeau for UCLA. If they do not play, I would take UCF. If they do play, I like UCLA to beat UCF. I think the slower pace of UCLA is going to give UCF less possessions. And usually, that's going to bode well for teams picking upsets. I'm going to take UCLA because they've been playing a little bit better of late. UCF did not impress me over the last month of the season. And I think that Donovan Dent, one of the top point guards in America, is starting to play to the preseason expectation people had for him. I like UCLA to get by UCF. And UConn, Furman, I know they're struggling. Give me UConn. I just do not see Dan Hurley's squad losing to a 15-seed Furman team. Too much on the line for how well he has done in previous tournaments. To the round of 32 we go. We have Duke matching up with TCU, St. John's, Kansas, South Florida, Michigan State, UCLA, UConn. Now, let's go back to the top. Duke and TCU. If this were to happen in the second round, now I am a betting man. I would take TCU plus the points because I have seen TCU give the big boys trouble in the tournament, especially in the second round from teams that have been very, very good in the tournament. And I think that TCU will make Duke sweat. However, even though Duke's dealing with injuries to Patrick Ngamba at the bigs and Caleb Foster being out at point guard, I cannot convince myself to take TCU to upset Duke. I just don't think TCU has enough size to upset Duke. Give me Duke to advance to the Sweet 16. Let's go back to the bottom, UCLA and UConn. Now, some people I know are taking UCLA to upset UConn. And I would not be mad if you do because of how UConn's been playing lately and how they looked like a different team over the last month of the season. I just do not see a scenario where Dan Hurley gets upset in the second round back-to-back years. I don't see it. I think UCLA, to me, struggles. Remember, UCLA is playing against UCF in Philly, so these games are in Philadelphia. Cross-country travel for a West Coast team. They are a little bit banged up, UCLA. I think even though UConn has not looked like the same team that they've been the last month of the season, I like UConn to get by UCLA and advance to the Sweet 16. South Florida, Michigan State. I'll make this one quick. I am never betting against Tom Izzo until I have a team I really, really like. South Florida would be a fun Cinderella story. I just do not see it happening against Michigan State. Give me the Spartans to meet UConn in the Sweet 16. St. John's, Kansas. Woo, this is tough. Okay. Rick Pitino, Bill Self. I don't know. Because Darren Peterson, I don't know if he's healthy. Kansas is deeper than people think, but again, I'm going to pose the question I said earlier. What version of Kansas am I getting on a 6-game, 3-week stretch of this tournament? I don't know what I'm getting. St. John's, I am a little bit worried about them not having a point guard, but I think this will not worry them now, but it will worry them later in the tournament. And I'm going to go with St. John's to beat Kansas because I think St. John's will be able to defend Darren Peterson very well. I think Zubi Ejiofor is going to produce enough. And I do think that Hopkins and Darling, to me, if they can combine for enough points, outscore the duo of Peterson and Council, I think this team has the goods. Rick Pitino, I believe that there is this feeling that they need to get to the second weekend. There's a mission there in St. John's to get to the second weekend, and I believe that the Red Storm will make it to the Sweet 16 where they will play Duke. The other Sweet 16 matchup in the East region, we have Michigan State taking on UConn. So, let's start with Duke St. John's. Some people are taking the Red Storm to beat Duke because this is where Duke will have trouble with Caleb Foster being out. We don't know if he's going to play at some point in this tournament. St. John's, though, I would say to people, do we really think St. John's without a real point guard is going to upset a Duke team that was really good defensively all year? Remember, this was one of the highest-rated KenPom teams of all time before the injuries to Ngamba and Caleb Foster. John Shire, he has made moves where he's playing chess and the other opponent is playing checkers. Rick Pitino will play chess with John Shire. I just don't think St. John's can score against a really good Duke defense. And I just want to say, for those people that say Duke has the toughest draw for a number 1 overall seed, you're going by history with coaches that have won championships. Yes. How about the teams and what they're playing at right now and their flaws? I don't think anybody's talking about that enough. And I think this is why I do not trust St. John's to beat Duke. I'm taking Duke to the Elite Eight as much as it pains me, and I hate picking chalk. Give me Duke to beat St. John's in the Sweet 16. Michigan State, UConn. I do see a scenario where UConn does beat Michigan State because I think UConn, the way I can see them beating Mich State is if they clamp up Jeremy Fears and they force Michigan State to shoot the three. But UConn, something looks off with them over the last month of the season where their defense is really lacking. We don't know what solo ball is. Braylon Mullins has not been a great three-point shooter lately for them that they need him to be. Terrence Reed Jr., can he dominate when Izzo likes to play football-style basketball? I don't know. I don't know if he can. And this is where I think Michigan State finally takes down UConn, and I see a rematch of the 2019 Elite Eight happening years later. Now, for those of you that don't remember, that was the year Duke was also a number 1 overall seed. That was when they had Zion Williamson, R.J. Barrett, and Cam Reddish all on the floor. Duke lost to Michigan State. Michigan State had Cassius Winston. They made it to the Final Four. Now, does history happen again? No. I've got Duke beating Michigan State. I just don't think Michigan State is going to be able to make enough threes against Duke. I think Jeremy Fears is good, but I don't really love the supporting cast they have outside of him to win this game. And I think that John Shire gets the Duke Blue Devils back to the Final Four, even with the injuries to Ngamba and Caleb Foster. I just don't know who in that side of the bracket will beat Duke that you can fully trust, even with the way teams are playing and their flaws. Give me the Blue Devils to come out of the East region and make it to the Final Four.
Okay, here we go. Next region. I'm going to say Arizona because they won the Big 12 and Michigan lost. Yep. So this has to be the West region. Damn, that's a nice view, bro. That's a real nice view. Sheesh, that looks nice, man. Damn. That is nice, man. That might be the best watch party view, man. Sheesh, that's nice.
Speaking of Smash Mouth, get your fins up for the LIU Sharks, led by Ron.
Yeah, you're getting blown out by 30. That's not even a contest, okay?
San Diego on Friday. The 8-9 matchup there. Villanova, the 8 seed with Kevin Willard winning more games than any.
They improved. They're not a threat at
The
all.
9 seed is Utah State.
Jared Calhoun's team. I remember they won their first round game, got smoked by Purdue. That's exactly what's going to happen now. Arizona, easiest path to the Sweet 16 right now. Right now. Easiest path to the Sweet 16. Without question, Arizona. Right now.
Really fun matchup to watch, Villanova and Utah State.
No doubt. We go to Portland for Thursday's matchup with 5 seed Wisconsin.
Yes, they're not a 6. Okay. Yes, they're a 5. Yes. And I bet on them plus 12.5 against Michigan.
High Point, who has reached cruising altitude in for the second straight year.
Ooh, they gave Purdue a sweat last year, man.
Offensive group, and look at the excitement there for the Panthers. This is going to be a tough matchup for Wisconsin. As a matter of fact, I'm going to do a Seth Davis. I've got High Point.
Ooh, 5-12 too. You got to watch these 12-5 games, man. Got to have some 12 seeds ready to pick over a 5.
Scoring game. Meantime, the 4 seed going to Portland, Arkansas.
They are the hottest team right now, in my opinion. Oh, Darius Acuff against either John Blackwell and Nick Boyd or High Point. Oh. Okay, this is where Arizona might sweat. Arkansas, Wisconsin, I do think will give them a sweat, but again, I still think Arizona gets by. Yes! Yes, I'm fading them. Who do they got? Yes, I'm fading them. BYU. Yes. Yes, I'm fading them. AJ's fun. He's number 1 pick. They have no depth. Who are they playing? I got to see this. Both teams slumping. Texas or NC State. Ooh. Okay, Will Wade, Sean Miller. That should be interesting. I still think BYU gets by. BYU will get a sweat, but I think they get by. Yes! We got a 3 seed! Yes! Yes! And if we win, we get to play BYU, Texas, or NC State. Yes! Yes, I love the Zags draw. Yes! Yes! Yes, I love our path. Yes! Wow, one of my sleepers is in this region. Wow, Jay Lucas's team's in here. Wait, Missouri gets a home game and they're a lower seed? What? Bro, Missouri, what? How do you get a home game and you're a lower seed? That's so bullshit. Here we go. Everybody's going to drink the Kool-Aid because they beat Michigan in the Big Ten champ game, and everybody's going to say they're back. I'm not there with this team. Nope. Nope. I'm not there. I want to get back on Purdue so bad. So bad. Yeah, Queens, you're getting rocked. You're getting rocked. Easily. Easily. I love the pod the Zags got. I want Purdue get back from 2 years ago in the Sweet 16. We need to beat this fucking team. We really need to. Miami, I like. I don't know if they can beat Purdue. I don't know if they can. Wisconsin, Arkansas, or second round would be cinema. Oh, please. We need that matchup so bad. Wisconsin, Arkansas needs to happen in the second round. Please, High Point, do not ruin it. Although, possible over first play. Arizona's got a really nice best path to the Sweet 16, Arizona. But Wisconsin, Arkansas, that's going to be fun in the Sweet 16. That will be a test for them. But that might be the best test for them in the region. I'm telling you right now, listen, I love my Zags. We got no shot against Arizona if we meet in the Elite Eight. No shot. Purdue, no chance against Arizona. No chance. They can't guard. Everybody wants to think, oh, they're back because they won the Big Ten. No, they're not. No, they're not. No, they're not. AJ, though, worries me. I wonder if we put Tyon or EK on him if they do get to the second round. And former WCC conference opponents potentially meeting in the second round. That should be fun. So, I like, honestly, Arizona's got some nice teams in this region, man. Please get back on Purdue, please. I want the Zags to beat Purdue so bad. I don't think we beat Arizona, though, but I would love to get back on Purdue. All right, let's go. Time to pick the West region. Let's go, baby.
All right, now we're moving on to the West region where Arizona is the number one seed in this region. And I think it's pretty safe to say they'll get by Long Island without an ease. Arizona without question on this side. Villanova and Utah State in the 8-9 matchup. I'm going to be honest, I don't like either one of these 8-9 teams. I don't. I think that this is, again, coin flip game for those of you picking brackets. I'm going to take Utah State because I think that Villanova does not do very well with good defensive teams. And I think that Utah State can defend. I just feel like Villanova has not impressed me really much in a weak Big East. Even though Utah State did win the Mountain West, I still trust them to win a game in the tournament. And I think that it's going to help them against a team that, again, Kevin Willard, great first year at Villanova. But this team just is not very good. I like Utah State to get by Villanova and move on to the second round where they will meet Arizona. Wisconsin, High Point. Oh, man, this game conflicts me because I know some people are going to take High Point to upset Wisconsin. I don't blame those people, but High Point burned me so bad last year when I took them to upset Purdue, and they came up short. And Wisconsin, I'm not going to lie, guys, I did take them plus 12.5 against Michigan, and I won that bet. So Wisconsin's on my good side right now, but I also don't want to see Nick Boyd and John Blackwell get bounced in the first game again. No, I can't do it. I can't take High Point to upset Wisconsin. I just can't bring myself to do it. I am going to take Wisconsin to take down High Point, and let's go to the game in the pod. Arkansas, Hawaii. Darius Acuff is a dude. He should be a top 5 lottery pick. I think Arkansas gets by Hawaii, and we're set for cinema between the elite backcourt duo of Wisconsin against Darius Acuff Jr. and Arkansas is playing their best ball. They just won the SEC. I think Arkansas has real upside in this region. Only downside is they have Arizona, which we're going to save later. Let's go to the bottom half of the West region where BYU is the 6th seed, AJ DeBonce's squad. where they're going to either play the winner of the play-in game between Texas and NC State, where if I had to guess who wins that play-in game, I would give NC State the edge because I do think Will Wade's team, I know they're not playing well lately. I do think NC State has enough to get by Texas, but can they upset BYU and AJ DeBonsa? I'm going to say no. I just think AJ DeBonsa can carry BYU to win a game in the tournament. Rob Wright III is he's a good point guard. Keba Kato's really good at defense. NC State's got no size. I think BYU will get by NC State. They will go to the second round. Gonzaga, Kennesaw State. Listen, I'm a Zags fan. I think the Zags are used to Kennesaw State's coach, who was an assistant under Nate Oates at Alabama. So they played Alabama in the Players Era Festival. Give me the Zags to get by Kennesaw State. Meet old WCC rival BYU. Miami, Missouri. Now, this game is in Missouri, surprisingly. Not in Missouri Tiger Stadium, but in St. Louis. So basically a home game for Missouri. But I really like this Miami team. I think what Jay Lucas has done in year one, they have done really, really good. And I do think Missouri, I'm not sold on what I've seen from them. So give me the Miami Hurricanes to take down Missouri. I know some people are taking Missouri. And again, these 7-10s, guys, are just equally as coin flips. I just think Miami, to me, I've been impressed with them with year one under Jay Lucas. I think the Canes get to the second round and will play Purdue, who I think gets by Queens without a problem. I just don't see Purdue losing in the first round. Again, let's go to the round of 32 in this bracket where we have Arizona taking on Utah State. I am not going to spend much time on this. Give me the Wildcats to take down Utah State. Miami, Purdue. As much fun as Miami has had this season, and I do love the job Jay Lucas is doing in Miami, I don't see them slowing down Purdue. Give me the Boilermakers to make the Sweet 16. BYU, Gonzaga. I know some people are taking BYU to upset the Zags. I do think, though, BYU is not a very good defensive team. And I think the Zags, people are used to the running it up offense where they score a lot, they don't play really great defense, and they have had usually really good guard play over the last 5 or 6 years. The Zags are a different team this year. They can score, they just don't score the 80 to 90 we've been accustomed to seeing from them over the last 6 seasons. And I think that Tyon Grant-Foster is the X factor against how they defend AJ DeBonsa. Now, I know he's 6'9", and he is explosive. I get it, DeBonsa, but I do think that Tyon Grant-Foster is an X factor. Jalen Warley, too. He is going to be the key. If he is not healthy, AJ DeBonsa might drop 30-plus on the Zags. But I do believe, though, Mark Few's company will not lose in the round of 32 back-to-back years. They usually get to the Sweet 16, and I think that the Zags have been better defensively this season than people want to give them credit for. Give me Gonzaga to beat BYU to go meet up once again with Purdue in a rematch of the 2024 Sweet 16 between Gonzaga and Purdue. Wisconsin, Arkansas. Oh, my God. This is cinema. This is the must-see matchup of the second round. I am telling you, even for the casuals, you got to watch this game. Nick Boyd and John Blackwell against Darius Acuff Jr. Oh, that's some great guard play. Okay? But this is tough. But I'm going to go with my honest feel on this game. I'm going to take Arkansas. I think Arkansas is playing their best ball at the right time. I think they have a very good young team. And something with John Calipari's group tells me they're loose. They don't feel like there's this insane pressure that he had at Kentucky. I feel like Arkansas is motivated to get back to the Sweet 16 and continue to thrive in not only winning the SEC, but to avenge their Sweet 16 loss to Texas Tech last year and get back. Now let's look at the West Region Sweet 16 matchups that I have. I have Arizona meeting up with Arkansas. and I have Gonzaga meeting Purdue. I'm going to start with Gonzaga-Purdue this time. Now, I know people think Purdue is rolling and that everything's solved because they won the Big Ten. Here's what everybody's forgetting. Purdue got a very favorable draw in the Big Ten tournament. You beat Northwestern, who's not very good. Nebraska does not defend well at all. Let's be real. They do not defend Braden Smith well. UCLA, 2 of their top guys hurt. And Michigan kept playing with their food too much that eventually was going to catch up, and it caught up to them against Purdue where they adjusted, and Michigan is reeling without LJ Kaysen, which we'll save for the next region we go over. But Purdue, the fact that everybody thinks all of a sudden they're back to being that preseason number 1 team in America to start the year, no. This team, I'm telling you guys, I'm not sold on them. I don't think they can defend that well. I know that everybody's looking at them. They won the Big Ten. And, yes, they're playing good, but I don't think everything is solved. I don't think they can defend that well. The Zags, here's the question. Is Braden Huff coming back for this game? I don't anticipate him coming back for this matchup. However, the young guards of Gonzaga are making noise lately. The 2 X factors to me, can those young guards ascend to beat a really good Purdue team that, let's be honest, their backcourt at times has been shaky outside of Braden Smith? Let's be real. And I think Fletcher Lawyer, Trey Kaufman-Wren, I think Gonzaga has matchups where they can limit those guys. And if Fletcher Lawyer goes cold, I think Purdue is in trouble. Oscar Clough really is going to slow down Graham Ike? No. I'm taking the Zags to finally get their first win over Purdue since Mark Few took over as head coach, and their first win against Purdue in the tournament. Give me the Zags to get by Purdue. Arizona, Arkansas. If there's one team in this region that can give Arizona fits, it's Arkansas. But Darius Acuff, I don't even know if he drops a 40 burger, if that's going to be enough to beat Arizona, because I just don't think Arkansas is as deep as Arizona is. Arizona, ladies and gentlemen, for those of you that have not watched, is deep. They can win so many different ways. Jaden Bradley is a great senior point guard who was with Alabama with Nate Oates. He's had tournament experience. He's a closer. Arizona has freshmen playing well. They have bigs. They can play defense. They can win any way they want. I have to go Arizona over Arkansas. That would be a great game. Let's go to the Elite Eight where I have Tommy Lloyd, the disciple, against the master in Mark Few. Tommy Lloyd spent 20 years as a Gonzaga assistant. But I'm a Zags fan, and I'm going to be honest. I said it last year. I didn't think they could beat Houston. I don't think the Zags get by Arizona. Arizona's just too complete. So many guys. Karchenkov, Krivos inside, Koa Pete. You got Braden Burries, the 2 young freshmen, really good players. You got Jaden Bradley, I mentioned before. They just have so many guys. They can win so many different ways. I have Arizona winning the West region and getting to the Final Four. And I think you can make a really strong case that Arizona should be the favorite to win this national championship. And in my opinion, they're the best team in America.
Okay, we are halfway through the bracket. Let's go. Okay, next number 1 seed I'm going to predict Michigan because they did lose the Big Ten champ game. They gave the conference champions their rightful spots, so Michigan's probably going to be the 3rd 1 seed because all the 4 possible 1 seeds, like Houston, UConn, and Florida, they all lost. Yeah, Michigan deserves this. Yeah. But they are not playing good. I want to see who's in this draw. They are not playing good at all. They are playing with their food way too much. They're toying with teams. They think they're just going to coast at like 75, 80%. That's not going to happen. Not in this tournament. Okay, yeah. They'll be able to do this against UMBC Howard. They'll be able to cruise. They'll win them by 30-plus points. If they don't win by 30-plus points, then I worry about them. I remember them from last year. They could score. They play at a pace. Josh Shirt's team's the 9 seed. Oh! I really want them to win, man. Oh, please, St. Louis win a game. Please win a game. Please win a game.
And 5 seed in Tampa, Texas Tech. A school record
They're not going far. JT topping out. Grant McCaslin's a really, really good coach. They're not going far. Christian Anderson, I like, but he's not a guy that can carry a team by himself. I remember them from last year. Arizona, they won. Arizona, they hung around with for a while.
Guard matchup on tap in that one. Tabari Johnson, player of the year in the back, and Christian Anderson.
This might be my 12-5, guys. Akron over Texas Tech. This is my 12-5.
4 seed in Tampa Friday. The Alabama Crimson Tide, the highest scoring team in the country.
They did not look good against Ole Miss, man. They lost their first game in the SEC tournament. Yeah, Philon's a beast. I've seen him multiple games this year.
Head coach Speedy Claxton, remember, was a star player for Jay Wright.
Is this Jay Wright's alma mater? Yo! Honestly, though, Alabama, I think, again, barring anything crazy, Alabama should make the Sweet 16. Because they could beat Texas Tech or Akron. They can.
Midwest region now. This will be in Philadelphia. The 6th seed is Tennessee. Rick Barnes becomes the 4th coach in tournament history.
Something's off with them. I mean, but Rick Barnes does know how to win tournament games. He does. Yes! They gave Miami, Ohio a fucking last 4-in spot. Yes! Wow, last at-large team in. Wow, yes! If you do not root for Miami, Ohio to get in, you are no fun. Yes! They're in. Against SMU in the first 4-in. I like it. I like it. Yes, Miami, Ohio's in the field. They'll get to the second round, I think. I'm just not there on them making like an Elite Eight type run. No way. They're good, but they're not getting to no like Final Four. No. They'll win by 20, Virginia. Guarantee. They'll win by 20. Who are they playing? I am fading them. This is another one. Oh, I remember watching Santa Clara. I've watched them a couple times, guys. They're good. They can score. Efficient. They got size. They gave the Zags fits in the WCC champ game. I have another upset. Santa Clara over Kentucky. I love this. I love this. 2 upsets in this region easily on mine. I love this team. I love this team. They played Arizona really good. It was just Jaden Bradley went take over and had ice in his veins for one of the best shots. That was very Kawhi Leonard of the Raptors-esque. Go watch that highlight if you haven't seen it against Iowa State. Jaden Bradley against Iowa State. That was a Kawhi Leonard-esque shot from the Raptors against the Sixers. Iowa State's got a very nice path to the Sweet 16. I would say it's probably top 4 easiest paths. They beat Kentucky or Santa Clara, though. I love this team. I think they are, in my opinion, guys, they're my favorite team in this region. Easily. Virginia and them would be a fun game. I still lean Iowa State.
I tell you, Michigan is a little vulnerable. This LJ
Yeah.
injury, I think, is going to eventually start to catch up as they move forward. They struggled a little bit today in a way where I think it gives some other teams.
Alabama could make threes to make that game interesting, but I think Michigan's going to make what happens to NATO's teams when they lose to big-time competition. When Alabama chucks up a bunch of threes and misses, they lose. And Michigan's going to do the exact same thing to Alabama in the Sweet 16. I'm telling you, Alabama will get to the Sweet 16, but lose. Because they're going to chuck up a bunch of threes and miss, and Michigan's going to go to the Elite Eight. Calling it right now. If it's them at Iowa State, oh my God. Honestly, I want that. I want Michigan, Iowa State. I would take Iowa State over Michigan. The thing is, do they have enough size to hang around with Michigan? Because Michigan's got size. That's what I'm worried about. But I think Otzelberger's squad, they got a really good team. I'm rooting for Iowa State in this region. I am. I've been a fan of TJ Otzelberger's team all season. This is my favorite team in the region right now. I hope they play Michigan in the Elite Eight. I would take Iowa State over Michigan easily. Michigan's not playing good. They're playing like it's, JV teams. But they're going to get exposed. So, can't wait for Michigan to lose. All right, one more region. Let's get it. Let's have some fun.
Down 2 more to go as far as the regions left to pick. We are now moving to the Midwest region, where Michigan is the #1 seed in this region. and they are waiting to play either UMBC or Howard. Please. Michigan by 30, 35. They are going to play either Georgia or St. Louis, which is Josh Shirt's team. For those of you that don't know, he was the hottest head coaching candidate for all the teams with head coach openings. But Georgia was in the same spot last year as the 9 seed and got beat by Gonzaga. Man, what is with Georgia getting these, like, really teams that are just fun, that people like, but that also are just high-octane scoring with them? And I think this game, for those of you that are looking for bets, this is a potential over game. I kind of like this as an over. Now, we'll save that for when we get to the bets. I am going to take St. Louis to beat Georgia. I think that Josh Schertz can win a game in the tournament. Robbie Avila is going to be fun to watch as one of the bigs. I just think that St. Louis will be able to win a game, and they are going to move on to the second round. Let's go to Texas Tech and Akron. Now, JT Toppin was hurt back last month. Devastating injury for Texas Tech. Grant McCaslin's group did not look good in the Big 12 tournament against Iowa State. Akron won the MAC. 5-12 upset. I said it's coming, guys. And, guys, I'm going to do it. Upset special. Akron upsets Texas Tech in the first round. I am going to take them to beat the Red Raiders. Grant McCaslin, hey, he's a really good coach. The Texas Tech Red Raiders, though, I do think have not looked good lately. And I think Christian Anderson's banged up. If he's not healthy, I like Akron to win. Remember, last year they played Arizona really, really well. I do think that this time they're able to get by Texas Tech, who's limping. They're not really looking good right now. Christian Anderson's banged up. I'm taking Akron to upset Texas Tech in my 5-12 matchup. The first 12 I've got over a 5. Let's move down to Alabama and Hofstra. Now, as of earlier today, Aiden Holloway was arrested earlier this morning, and he is not going to join the team this week, it looks like, according to Nate Oates on his radio show. Very important to monitor because Aiden Holloway is Alabama's second leading scorer. Now, does this change my original pick that I had thought of when the bracket came out? It does not change much. However, I wouldn't blame those that take Hofstra after the news, because I do think this makes it very, very tough for Alabama to win this game, because it's LeBaron, Philon, or bust at this point. I can see a scenario where Hofstra does upset Alabama. I can. I just think Alabama right now will get by Hofstra, but I do think this is going to be a sweat. I would take Hofstra with the points after knowing that Aiden Holloway was arrested. They don't expect him to meet with the team this week. I do think Alabama distractions, wrong time. They do get by Hofstra. Close, though. Give me Alabama, though, to move on to the second round. Tennessee Volunteers, Miami, Ohio, SMU winner. So, Miami, Ohio, they could score. They just can't defend. SMU, Andy Enfield squad, he's had really good success in the tournament in years past. You can go back to the Florida Gulf Coast days. You can go back to his USC days. Can he win a game with SMU against Miami, Ohio? This team has a chip on their shoulder because they were unbeaten Miami, Ohio, 31-0. They lost in their first game in the quarterfinal of the MAC to UMass. I think Miami, Ohio might come out motivated. I do think they're going to be motivated. And especially since they were the last at-large team in, according to the bracketologist over at CBS, from what Seth Davis said on the bracketology show last night. I kind of think Miami, Ohio will get by SMU, but I don't think they get by Tennessee. Give me the Volunteers to get by either Miami, Ohio, or SMU, but I'm going to say Miami, Ohio beats SMU. I do think SMU will make Tennessee a better game. I just think that Tennessee, to me, Rick Barnes, I think they can win a tournament game. Virginia, Wright State. I got to watch Virginia a little bit over the last 2 to 3 weeks. This is a team that is deep as far as many guys. They got 2 bigs. I think they'll handle Wright State, though. Give me Virginia to get to the second round. Kentucky, Santa Clara. Now, I've watched both of these teams a good amount this year. Kentucky I've watched a lot. I have not been a fan of their team at all this year. I think that Mark Pope, the pieces do not mesh. Santa Clara, a WCC representative. I've watched them a couple games, including the WCC championship game. Herb Sendek's group has size. They have guys that can give Kentucky problems. And I think this is a top 25 team efficiency-wise. I think Santa Clara, guys, if you're looking for an upset, will beat Kentucky. I don't like the way Kentucky looks. I'm not sold. This team is not what Mark Pope teams are that can shoot the three. They are a little bit more physical inside, but I don't think they have enough to – their weaknesses are what Santa Clara thrives on, and I think that Santa Clara will upset Kentucky, and a WCC representative other than Gonzaga will win a tournament game. Give me Santa Clara to upset Kentucky. Iowa State, without question, over Tennessee State. This is a team I've watched a lot, and I've been a fan of them this whole season. And I think that TJ Altenberger's squad gets by Tennessee State with ease. Okay, second round matchups in the Midwest. Michigan taking on St. Louis. Akron taking on Alabama. Tennessee taking on Virginia. Santa Clara taking on Iowa State. Michigan, to me, too much size. And I believe this team will be motivated this first weekend. I think they handle St. Louis with ease. Give me the Wolverines to get to the Sweet 16. Dusty May just has too many options. Size will overwhelm St. Louis. Give me Michigan. Santa Clara, Iowa State, we're going to move down to. I like TJ Altenberger's squad. I just think that Iowa State's ball pressure will make Santa Clara into some bad decisions. And I think that this is where the run ends for Herb Sendek's group. Give me Iowa State to the Sweet 16. Virginia and Tennessee. Nate Ament, really good freshman for Tennessee, but Virginia, too many options. I think this team, they can shoot the three. They can score, and I do think that this game might trend to be an under, but I like Virginia to score a little bit more against Tennessee. Give me the Cavaliers to meet Iowa State in the Sweet 16. Akron and Alabama. Now, I am making these picks after I just found out what happened in Holloway from Alabama. I was going to put Alabama in the Sweet 16. I just think that these distractions are the last thing that Alabama needs. And the only way I think Alabama can advance is if they get enough contribution from anyone but LeBaron Philon. And I just don't know if they're going to have it. I do think Alabama is a team that stylistically can make enough threes to upset Michigan in a potential Sweet 16 matchup. However, I think with Holloway being out and not joining this team, I kind of want to take Akron. Because I just think that with Holloway out, who is Alabama going to trust to take pressure off LeBaron Philon to score that many points? I don't know. I mean, I'm going to go with, and again, I like to have some fun. I really do. I don't know if Akron can beat Bama, though. So if there is one coach I do trust with a weird situation like this, it's Nate Oates. I'm going to take Alabama against Akron. I do see a scenario where Akron does get to the Sweet 16, but I'm just not convinced Akron has enough to upset Alabama. And I just, again, I this is a risky move by me. I don't like gambling like this because, again, it's unknown. You don't know what the situation's going to be. But I think Alabama has enough offense to get by Akron, and I do trust them to get to the Sweet 16. Where we have, in the Midwest, Michigan taking on Alabama, Virginia taking on Iowa State. This is where I think Alabama gets into some trouble. I think Michigan, to me, a Dymar in the bigs, Yaxel Lendenborg, okay? I think Trey McKinney at guard, and I do think Elliot Cadeau, their backcourt, too much for Alabama, in my opinion. They're going to make Alabama take way too many threes. I don't think they're going to be efficient. Give me Michigan to get by Alabama, where now they await the winner of Virginia and Iowa State. Now, listen, You can call me biased. I don't care. This is my bracket. This is my picks. I wouldn't be mad if you have any of these teams going to the Elite Eight, but me personally, who I trust more, I think that this team is finally healthy now. Last year I faded them because they were hurt going into the tournament. This year they're healthy. Taman Lipsy, Milan Momcilovic, and Joshua Jefferson, to me, Iowa State, those big three guys, I think this is TJ Otzelberger's team to make a really strong push. Give me Iowa State to meet Michigan in the Elite Eight, where now this is where a 1 seed's going down. I am taking a bold upset. I'm taking Iowa State to beat Michigan. Michigan, to me, guys, I've watched them in the Big Ten tournament, struggled with Ohio State, struggled with Wisconsin, lost to Purdue. They are playing too much of the game of, we don't have to be 100% to beat you. And it bit them so bad against Purdue. They'll get away with it when they play either Hofstra, not Hofstra, but UMBC or Howard. They'll get away with it. They'll get away with it if they play St. Louis. They're going to have to play it a little bit into the 85-90% with Alabama. They're going to need to play 100% to beat Iowa State. But the way I've seen them play lately, I don't think Michigan's going to be 100% when they play them. That loss of LJ Cason, their backup point guard, is affecting them. Elliot Cadeau and Trey McKinney, they're going to have to take a lot of the responsibilities of being the true initiating point guard. I think that Iowa State's ball pressure, I think the only thing that worries me with Iowa State is making free throws. They're not a really good free throw team. I think that does worry me a little bit, but I do think TJ Otzelberger's squad has Final Four potential. I do not like the way Michigan's playing by the eye test. Give me the Cyclones to make it to the Final Four against Arizona.
All right, last region. So now it comes down to Florida or Houston for the last 1 seed. Who do they give it to?
The tournament from the NCAA and its corporate champions, we are now going
Okay. I don't have a problem with this. They're going to give it to a team that's playing hot before they got smoked in the SEC quarterfinal to Vanderbilt. Oh, okay, the home game's in Tampa. All right, that's fine. That's fine. Go with the more local team. I'm good with that.
And they will be scouting Wednesday's matchup in Dayton between the 2-16 seeds here.
Yeah, get ready to lose by 30, 35 points. This team's pissed they lost.
For the first time since 20.
Florida wins by 30, 35.
Going to Tampa now, the 8 seed, Clemson, 16-0, allowing 60.
No shot. They got no shot. Brad Brunell's a good coach. They got no shot.
Iowa back after a 2-year absence.
No. Ben McCollum, good coach, did a good job turning around Iowa. No. Florida, easiest path to the Sweet 16 outside of Arizona. Vandy. Ooh, if we get Florida Vandy in the Sweet 16, bro, that would be so funny. That would be so funny if we got Florida Vandy in the Sweet 16. Please, I'm rooting for that. Lil Wade's former team, though, but are they that good without him? I'm going to say no, but if another 5-12 matchup. McNeese upset Clemson last year as a 12 seed over a 5. Dude, they got to win one game, man. They got to win one game. This team hasn't won a tournament game in 100 years, Nebraska. But again, I don't like the way they're trending lately. They got beat bad by Purdue in the Big Ten quarterfinal. I don't know much about Troy. Yes! It's North Carolina. Who are they playing? Another team I'm fading. Do we have another 11 over a 6? Caleb Wilson being out just fucked up their whole ceiling.
Maybe as high as a 4. And their opponent, the 11 seed VCU, who punched their ticket in the
Oh, yes! Okay. 2 11s, guys. We have 2 11s upsetting a 6. This is one of the 11s upsetting a 6. I am taking VCU. Phil Martelli Jr., man, if you remember, he was at Bryant. Now he's at VCU. I like VCU. They're rolling. They just won the A-10 today, too. I like VCU over North Carolina.
How about Phil Martelli Jr. getting it done? We go to Greenville, South Carolina's Thursday matchup. 3 seed Illinois, the highest scoring of
Okay.
19 since their
They're a really good offense. A lot of good players.
And they will face The Ivy League champs have a
Fran McCaffrey, who was the former Iowa coach. Oh, I think Illinois wins, but how much does Fran McCaffrey advantage on the Big Ten help them? I still think Illinois beats Penn, though.
And that's Fran
VC over Illinois, though?
back in the dance. Oklahoma City's matchups on Thursday, the 7-10. St. Mary's making their 5th straight appearance. And
Who do they got?
10 seed Texas A&M.
St. Mary's plays Texas A&M buckyball against Randy Bennett. Ooh. I think Randy Bennett, though, and buckyball, that's an under, I would say.
A little ahead, down the step line is Houston.
Okay. I think Houston blows the doors off St. Mary's or Texas A&M. They do. Houston beats both of these teams.
Freshman Kingston Flemings and the 15 seed
Yeah, Idaho, you're getting rocked. I'm telling you right now. Idaho, you're getting rocked.
Idaho.
Easily. You're getting rocked. This team's winning by 25 plus. Especially since they're a little bit rested now. So, Houston would play Illinois, VCU, North Carolina. I like Houston to get to the Elite Eight. I'm not sold on Illinois. They suck at closing games. VCU will get to the Sweet 16.
Nebraska and Troy. Nebraska has had a season for the ages.
They just gotta win one game, Nebraska. But I like Vandy over Nebraska, man. I don't know. Vandy looked good against Arkansas today.
Vanderbilt at a 5. Maybe a wee bit of a surprise, but certainly very dangerous.
Where would you have thought they could have moved to the fourth?
Florida has this easiest path to the Sweet 16 with Arizona. Florida beats fucking Clemson, Iowa.
And you take a look. I'm going to go to the bottom, but I do want to highlight the Cowboys. The McNeese Cowboys.
Ooh, so if the top seeds hold, we get Florida-Houston rematch of last year's national championship game in the Elite Eight. But isn't it in Houston? Because Houston, it's the second round, right? Oh, so Houston would have home court advantage, even though technically they're the lower seed. All right, I think VCU gets by North Carolina. Maybe can beat Illinois. Maybe. I want them to get to the Sweet 16 just because I want some upsets. Houston, though, love their path to the Elite Eight where they play Florida. And, man, a home game against Florida with a chance to go to the Final Four. Oh, man, that's going to be great. Let's go pick the bracket.
Okay, we are down to the final region, the South region, where last year's national championship and yours national championship from last year that I picked in the bracket last year, the Florida Gators looking to go back-to-back and win it for the second straight year in a row. The first time they were going to try to do it since the Billy Donovan Florida Gator days, and they're waiting to play either Prairie View or Lehigh. Come on, man. Florida beats them by 30 without question, especially for how they looked in the SEC tournament semifinal against Vanderbilt, which was bad. Clemson, Iowa in the 8-9 matchup. Brad Brownell's team, they were good early, and then they kind of faded. And to me, when you're fading, that's not a very good sign. Iowa, Ben McCollum's done a good job. I think they can win a game. Do you trust them, though? Not really. I don't love this 8-9 game at all. I'm going to go with Iowa to beat Clemson. I just feel like Brad Brownell's team, they don't have enough guys that I feel like you can trust in this moment. I like Iowa just a little bit just because they've done a good job against bigger competition, a little bit more than Clemson has. Give me Iowa to get by Clemson. Okay, Vanderbilt taking on McNeese. And now, again, Vanderbilt, tough game with Arkansas in the SEC championship loss. McNeese won their conference. They are without Will Wade, though. He's at NC State coaching. So I just think Vandy, Duke Miles, guys, I watched him. He is underrated. We talk about Acuff. We talk about all these great phenoms as point guards. This guy needs to get some recognition. I'm telling you guys, he needs to get some recognition. I like Vanderbilt to get by McNeese. Now, I know you're probably like, Rich, you picked more 5s and 12s. I got a 12, though, in there. I did. Okay? But I just think Vandy, I don't see them getting upset by McNeese. I know McNeese beat Clemson last year. I just think not Will Wade was a big factor in that. I don't think Mark Byington's group's going to get upset by McNeese. Number 4, Nebraska taking on 13 Troy. Now, I will say, one bracketology expert I follow very closely has Troy beating Nebraska. He might have talked me into this. He might have done it. I'm going to be honest with you guys. I did not like the way Nebraska ended the season. I think they barely squeaked out. Again, they did not look good against Purdue. I know they won in overtime. I think it was against Iowa. And Fred Hoiberg, he's a good coach. I just think, to me, Nebraska's not playing good ball. But you got to understand, Nebraska's not won a tournament game in like 100 years. But I hate picking chalk. I am going to go with Troy upsetting Nebraska. I got talked into it. I am going to do it. I don't have Nebraska making it past the second round anyway if I were to pick them. So I'm not even mad. So I'm going to take the upset with Troy over Nebraska. Let's go to the second half of this bracket. North Carolina takes on VCU, where North Carolina is now without Caleb Wilson for the remainder of the season with a broken thumb. That sucks for North Carolina. It lowers their ceiling dramatically. VCU won the A-10 tournament. They were one of the last 4 teams going into Sunday, but they won their conference, so they got the automatic bid. And this is where another upset will happen. I am taking VCU to upset North Carolina. I think VCU could score. I think North Carolina, to me, I know they got Vassar, and again, Hubert Davis, he has had teams where he's done really well in the tournament, and then they don't do well another year. I think this injury really limits their offense. I don't think they're going to win more than a game at max in this tournament. I'm going with VCU because, A, they can score. They're playing their best basketball. Phil Martelli Jr., if you remember him, he did coach. I'm trying to remember the team. But I think it was Bryant. It was Bryant. He took the VCU job. Now he's at VCU. I think VCU wins a game and could be a Cinderella team. Illinois Penn. Funny storyline for this. So Fran McCaffrey is the coach at Penn. He was the Iowa Hawkeyes coach before he went to Penn after a year of retirement. Now, Fran McCaffrey knows the Big Ten. He coached in it with Iowa. He just could not beat Illinois, from what I remember. And he does not have a lot of success in the tournament. And some people are taking Penn over Illinois. I kind of want to. I'm not doing it. I'm taking the Fighting Illini to beat Penn. I do think this game will be a lot closer than most people think. Illinois, though, to me, too many weapons offensively, and I think it overwhelms Penn. Number 7, St. Mary's takes on number 10, Texas A&M. And I've watched St. Mary's a lot. I despise them. They're Gonzaga's rival. A&M buckyball, though. That is interesting. So I think this is going to be, again, this is my prediction. This is an under type game. I don't want to pick St. Mary's. But I'm looking at A&M, and they did not look good against Oklahoma in the SEC tournament. They did not. And I think that St. Mary's, their guard play is better than people want to say it is. Those that pay attention to the WCC, like I do, we know St. Mary's is good guard play. I'm taking the Gales to get by the Aggies and move to the second round. And then Houston, Cougars, Idaho. Come on. Houston, let's go. I don't know why it vaulted me over to the top of the bracket. I don't like that. All right, so back now to the top of the South region. Florida taking on Iowa. I just don't think Iowa has enough weapons to slow down Florida. Give me the Gators to move on to the Sweet 16. Vanderbilt and Troy. I would love to see Florida Vanderbilt rematch because I think Florida wants them so bad. Chomping at the bit to get the Commodores again, no pun intended. I do believe, though, that Vanderbilt will beat Troy. I think that Duke Miles is a really, really good guard that needs to get recognition. Vanderbilt's got some shooters that I watched against Arkansas. They can make threes. This team, honestly, they're playing pretty good ball, too. Troy is nice, but they're not the Cinderella in this region. Give me Vanderbilt to beat Troy and rematch with Florida in the SEC semifinal. I almost said quarterfinal. Houston and St. Mary's. I do not think St. Mary's has a chance in hell in this game against Houston. They are not ready for that defense Houston plays. Give me Houston, even though I know people are going to say, well, Houston hasn't looked like the team that they were last year. No, but their guards are way better than St. Mary's, Kingston Flemings, Milos Uzan. Give me the Cougars over the Gales. VCU and Illinois. Illinois' problem has been defending and winning close games. VCU can score. I think VCU, if they can hang around, score with Illinois, keep it close. This is the Cinderella story from 2007 all over again. I'm going bold. Guarantee. VCU beats not only North Carolina, they are going to beat Illinois to go to the Sweet 16. VCU is one of my favorite plays of the first round matchup against North Carolina. Give me VCU to the Sweet 16. Let's go. We got Florida Vanderbilt rematch of the SEC semifinal as the 1-5 matchup, and then we have VCU taking on Houston. Now I'll make this quick. I don't think VCU can get by Houston. I think Houston beats them. I think Kelvin Sampson gets back to the Elite Eight, another step closer to the Final Four. And I think that even though Houston's looked like they've been walking on eggshells, I think they're going to be fine. Their issues are correctable. I just think they haven't played like the team people expect them to. I think they have a very nice draw in this tournament, and I do think they have a path to get to the Elite Eight. I like their chances a lot. Florida and Vanderbilt. I think the Gators have get back. I think their front court, to me, just is too much for Vanderbilt. I know Vanderbilt's bigs did much better the first go-around. I don't see it happening again. If it does happen again, I would be shocked. But if I'm going to take a 1 seed to go out really, really early, and I say really early, I mean like Sweet 16 or earlier, I would kind of lean. I know some people think Florida would go down first because Houston's in the region. I had Michigan, but I'm going to go with, I think, again, Florida would worry me with Vanderbilt because Vanderbilt could shoot, though. All right? Now, rematch of last year's national championship game in the Elite Eight, Florida and Houston. And this is where, again, Chris Sinak, he's a young freshman big. JoJo Tugler. Can their bigs slow down Thomas Howe and Alex Condon, who are guys that won with Florida last year? What's Florida's trouble right now, everybody's saying, is the biggest question mark for them going back-to-back? Guard play. I think Houston's got better guards. Give me the Houston Cougars in a rematch with Duke in the Final Four. And that is who I have in the South region winning Houston over Florida. And here's a preview of my Final Four matchups. And we are down to 4. We are down to the Final Four and the national championship pick you guys are waiting on now. I know you're like, Rich, it's chalk again. I know. I tried to find chaos. I did. I do think there are some potential teams, and we're going to save it for later in the episode. Let's get to my Final Four winners and national championship game and winner. So Duke-Houston, rematch of Final Four from last year, where Houston won in that epic last-minute collapse from John Shire. So now John Shire has to take on the Demons once again. He's going to be without Caleb Foster, though. Now, Houston, they do not look like the team that everybody remembers them from last year. But honestly, Duke is going to be, I think, worn out. And if you remember, like, Auburn did not look like the number 1 overall seed going into the tournament last year. And then, yeah, they got by Michigan, but it was 1 run late. Same thing with Michigan State. They hung around and then 1 big run late. And I think that's similar to what Duke's going to have to do to win. But I think this is where a really good defense, if they can rattle Cam Boozer, Houston's got a really good chance. I'm taking Houston to upset Duke in the Final Four. I think Duke is so lucky they have a region where their teams may have great coaches, but all of them are flawed in the style and just how they look. And I think it will catch up to them when they play Houston in the Final Four. I think Houston wins over Duke in Indianapolis, gets back to the national championship game. Arizona, Iowa State. Oh, my God, this is theater. If you did not watch the Big 12 semifinal, oh, I feel for you. That was an awesome game, in my opinion, game of the year. And now I have it again in the Final Four. Yeah, damn straight I do. Oh, this is great. Milan Momcilovic, Taman Lipsey, Joshua Jefferson against Arizona, who has Jaden Bradley, the 2 freshmen, Koa Pete, Braden Burries. You got Mo Krivas, Ivan Konchenkov. You have Anthony Delorso, who's a really good shooter. You got 2 really good head coaches seeking their first national championship in Tommy Lloyd and TJ Otzelberger. Both would make their first Final Four. And it came down to a Jaden Bradley buzzer beater in the Big 12 semifinal. But this is going to be close. This is where Arizona's definitely going to get tested. Iowa State, though, if this game's close, it's going to come down to free throws, and I'm a little worried about them with free throws. But I do think that, painfully enough, I think they're not going to be able to make enough free throws, Iowa State. And I love this team all year. I think their one worry, though, for me is just, do they have enough where they can make free throws late in a game? But Arizona's just more complete. I'm going with Arizona and Houston, a Big 12 final, a Big 12 national championship game, pretty much. Now, this, if you guys remember, this was also the Big 12 championship game in the Big 12 tournament. Arizona beat Houston in Houston early in the year, so this would be 3 times the charm. Now, Kelvin Sampson would be, I don't know how many coaches have gotten to back-to-back national champions, but lose. So I don't know what the history on that side is to go to back-to-back national championship games and lose. Because I hate to say it, I think Arizona's just the most complete team in college basketball. They could just win so many different ways. And again, I just feel like, to me, that they're too much. Now, if you're asking me to give a score prediction, I'm thinking of it right now. I just think Houston's not going to have a good game with them. I'm going to say, let's go an odd number, just because why not? I am going to go with the Arizona Wildcats, who I watched a lot. I watched their opening game in Florida, and I was like, they're going to be a problem. And I think it's going to end that way, where this team, guys, they can win so many different ways. They have defense. They got freshmen that are really good, elite guard play. I don't know anybody really outside of a few teams that can slow this team down, and I'm going with the Arizona Wildcats to cut down the nets in Indianapolis and win your 2026 national championship. I'm taking Arizona over Houston in the national championship game, and I think that they win. And I said, 145? So I'm going to say it's going to be, no, I don't think it's going to be that bad of a blowout. I'm going to say 78-67. Yeah, 78-67. Arizona beats Houston in the national championship. And that is my national championship. That is my March Madness bracket, the Lounge Time March Madness bracket.
So that is my 2026 March Madness bracket. Again, I want you guys to all go by what you think your bracket's going to be. But if you guys want to follow my bracket, again, I do it for a free bracket. Have some fun. And hey, I appreciate you guys following my analysis. I've done a little bit more college basketball content than I've done in years past on Lounge Time, but I wanted to grow that particular area because, A, I love college basketball, and I thought the tier lists were fun during the regular season because it gave some of those guys that weren't quite following attention to college basketball to keep an eye on certain teams for the tournament for this particular reason. But we're going to have more college basketball content, especially for March Madness. It might be tough breaking down each round, so what I might end up doing is I might wait till Monday where we might just go over like brief storylines, maybe preview a couple of Sweet 16 matchups. That's ideally the early things that we might do. There's going to be a lot to cover, but we might just do it based on the weekend itself instead of going through every single game because then I would be here for 2 hours, and I don't want to do that. Anyway, let's get into my favorite plays for the first round of March Madness. Now, I want to be very clear. My picks are not to be used for gambling purposes only. Bet responsibly, please, okay? Again, bet what you want, but bet responsibly. These picks are not to be used for gambling purposes, okay? These are my picks. I'm giving you what I like. Again, go with what you want. I have to put that out there. Okay, so what we're going to do is I cooked up a little bit of a parlay that I like, okay? Now, I'm going to tell you guys we're going through all the first round games that I like, all right? So, again, I did this just to have some fun, and this is what I like. But again, go with what you like, and again, please bet responsibly, and my picks are not to be used for gambling purposes. So without further ado, let's get to the GUA-RAN-TEEs for the first round of March Madness that I like. Starting with the over, alternate over, 152.5, Miami, Ohio, SMU. Miami, Ohio is not a very good defensive team. SMU, I think, will be able to score on them. The question is, can we get an 80-73 type game? I think we can. I think Miami, Ohio is going to come out and play inspired. SMU has not really looked good lately over the last month and a half. I do think we're going to see an 80-73 type of game. I think both teams can score. Give me the alternate over 152.5 at Miami, Ohio, SMU. That's to start the week. Let's go with that. Okay, now we get into the real round of 64 games. Starting off with TCU money line to beat Ohio State. Listen, 8-9 games. I know these are coin flip games. I just like the way I'm seeing TCU play, and I watched them play Kansas tough. I watched them play Michigan tough. Ohio State, tough loss to Michigan in the quarterfinal of the Big Ten tournament. I just think TCU's battle tested in the Big 12, and I think that's going to bode them well. I like them just to win on the money line. I think they'll win. Again, I know really smart people can get alternate spreads and win that way, but I like them on the money line. So, again, TCU money line. That is one of the interesting bets on the card. Probably not my favorite bet, but one of, I would say, the 7 or 8 that I really, really like. Okay? Or that I feel most confident in. Troy getting 12.5 against Nebraska. Originally, I was not going to do this, but then I thought to myself, Nebraska hasn't looked good over the last month of the season. A 13 seed can sneak an upset over a 4. I've seen it happen. Troy, to me, is a pick that a lot of people are going with. And one particular college basketball guy that I follow really, really likes this. And he's a really big junkie. And I'm thinking to myself, you know what? I'm not there with Nebraska either. And I don't think Nebraska would even go that far, if I'm being honest. At best, Sweet 16, at best. But I'm taking Troy with the 12.5, and I have in my bracket, I don't want to spoil it for those that, didn't watch it. Go back and look. But I have Troy upsetting Nebraska. I spoiled it, sorry, but that's going to be the one. But it's not a really, really strong play. I'd say it's more towards the bottom, but I like Troy getting 12.5. I will hang around with Nebraska. This next one is one of my favorite plays, probably the most favorite play of the first round. South Florida is going to beat Louisville. Guarantee. I love this. Okay, Louisville, no size in the front court. Michael Brown Jr. is banged up. I know Louisville has a really good backcourt. I just think South Florida, they're going to score with them. I think defensively they'll give Louisville a couple of issues at really critical times. Pat Kelsey's team, they're just not playing good ball either. And I really like South Florida. They just won the American Conference tournament. I love Brian Hodgson as a coach. I think he's a rising star. He just passed on the Syracuse job. So it's either Providence or staying at South Florida. I do think South Florida beats Louisville. One of my favorite plays. South Florida will beat Louisville. Guaranteed. Charles Barkley style. That's right. That's number one. Okay. Number two on the alternate overs. I like the over in Wisconsin High Point. Okay. High Point can shoot. Wisconsin can score. The only thing is, I got it at an alternate line, so I got it 152.5. Now, can we get the same score? I think we can. Wisconsin's got a really good backcourt duo of John Blackwell and why am I skipping his name? And I had it. Nick Boyd. There we go. I had it when I did the bracket, and now I almost had to play Jeopardy music in my head. Nick Boyd, John Blackwell, really good backcourt. High Point can shoot. Here's the thing with High Point. Can they score enough? I think between them and Wisconsin, they can get to 153. I can see that happening. I like Wisconsin to win in the bracket, but I do think this game goes over. Give me the over 152.5 in Wisconsin High Point. I'll give you one more over that I like. This is probably maybe the over that I like the most. St. Louis and Georgia. Over 158.5. Both of these teams play fast pace. There's going to be a lot of shots going up. I think if they can score enough, this could be 85-80, something like that. I like St. Louis and Georgia over 158.5. Another alternate over. Okay, that's 3. Now let's get to the money lines, and I've got one point spread that is starting to creep up on the card that is really high for me, especially from what I just found out the day after Selection Sunday happened. So my second upset that I really, really love. VCU is going to beat North Carolina. Guarantee. North Carolina, Caleb Wilson, done for the season, broken thumb. I don't think North Carolina is playing that good without him. And I think VCU is playing their best basketball at the right time. Phil Martelli Jr., if you remember, he was with Bryant in the tournament not too long ago. Hubert Davis, here's the thing. He has a good year, and then not so good. Last year, they did not have a good year, yet they won a game in the tournament. I think it was a playing game over San Diego State. Almost came back on Ole Miss, but then Ole Miss pulled away late. I do think North Carolina I don't think they're playing well. VCU is. Give me VCU on the money line to beat North Carolina, and VCU will beat North Carolina. The second 11 seed I have beating a 6. Guarantee. Okay. Santa Clara will beat Kentucky. Guarantee. Yup, Kentucky's not playing good ball either. I'm going against another blue blood, I know. I've watched Santa Clara. They've got size. They're a top 25 of offensive efficiency. This team has a lot of what Kentucky struggles with. And I do think that if Herb Sendek's group can pull it out, which I believe they can, I believe Santa Clara will make enough threes. I do think they'll get Kentucky into trouble with their size. And I feel like Kentucky's going the wrong way. I've not liked them all year. Santa Clara, I watched them in the WCC Championship. Give the Zags a little bit of problems early in that game. And then Gonzaga showed why they are the dominant powerhouse in the WCC. But I like Santa Clara to win against Kentucky. I think they match up a lot with what Kentucky struggles with. Give me the Broncos to win over the Wildcats. Guarantee Santa Clara upsets Kentucky. Now, the top three are obviously USF, VCU, over 158.5, St. Louis, Georgia. I would say 4 would be Wisconsin, High Point, Santa Clara, money line would be 5. And then I have the rest in 6 to 10. But I'll repeat all 10 plays. That's a ranking. This one is creeping into the top 5. Give me the 11.5 with Hofstra against Alabama. Alabama's second leading scorer is out. He got involved in marijuana possession. Now, I think this is a bad distraction for Alabama. I'm not saying that Alabama will not beat Hofstra. I do see a scenario where Hofstra does pull an upset. However, I think Hofstra can keep it close. Really good guard play. Alabama did not look good in the SEC tournament. I think taking away their second leading scorer, I know Nate Oates is stacked with guards. I just wonder, though, if they're going to be able to be efficient making threes, if they're going to be able to kind of go on their runs where they just make a barrage of threes, which I don't think you'll see them do against Hofstra much. But I do like Hofstra to hang around. 11.5 is a little bit too much wood for Bama to be laying with the injuries, but I'm going to take Hofstra getting the 11.5. I think they stay within the number. Give me Hofstra with the 11.5. The last one, now, if you're picking brackets and you know the math, take a 12 over a 5. Now, you're probably like, Rich, who did you take? Well, go watch the bracket video is what I would say to you. But for those of you that did watch, you know exactly who this pick's going to be. I am taking Akron to upset Texas Tech. Guarantee. I think this is the 12 that beats a 5. Grant McCaslin's group, he is a really good coach. JT Toppin, though, losing him to a knee injury, that sucked. Because I want to see the best players play in this stage. Christian Anderson, their point guard's banged up. I just feel like the way Texas Tech has looked since the JT Toppin injury, after they won in Iowa State, they have not looked good. Lost to TCU, got destroyed by Iowa State in the Big 12 tournament. I think they're going the wrong way. Akron, been a good team that's made the tournament, searching for that win. Played Arizona a little bit close last year. I think they get by Texas Tech and pull off the upset. And I can see a scenario where Akron does make the Sweet 16. So give me Akron to beat Texas Tech on the money line and win and pull off the upset. Guarantee. So if I had to rank these 10 in order, I'll make this quick. USF money line, my favorite play of the first round. Second play, VCU on the money line against North Carolina. Number 3, over 158.5, St. Louis, Georgia. Number 4 is going to be Wisconsin High Point, over 152.5. Number 5, I'm moving this up. Hofstra getting the 11.5 over Alabama. Number 6, Santa Clara money line. Number 7 is going to be over 152.5, SMU Miami, Ohio. Number 8 is going to be Akron money line. Number 9 is going to be TCU money line. And number 10 is going to be Troy getting 12.5 against Nebraska. Those are my rankings of the top 10 plays. Feel free to go back, pause, take a couple notes on the plays if you do like them. But again, I say this one more time. Bet responsibly. My picks are not to be used for gambling purposes. And again, go with what you like. And again, these are just my picks. So, again, bet responsibly. So, there you have it. Those are my March Madness guarantees, picks, my bracket, and my live reactions to Selection Sunday. You can also give us a follow on Rumble. We're looking to build that community over there. This episode will go live on Rumble as well. So we need to get that Rumble following up. Hopefully you guys can help us there. You can hit that like button, that subscribe button, hit the notification bell on YouTube. We're looking to get to 50 subscribers by the end of 2026. We're going to need a little bit of help getting there. So help spread this video to those that love March Madness brackets or love football content. Trust me, we have more NFL content on the way. My mock draft will be coming out next month for the 2026 draft. And let's just say this. There might be some trades going down that I think will be interesting. And a lot of teams have, well, at least 5 have multiple first-round picks that I think can make this draft Very, very interesting. So you do not want to miss that mock draft next month where I pick the NFL draft as to how I see it. Plus, we've got more college basketball content on the way. Monday, we're going to go over the big storylines from the first weekend of March Madness and some thoughts on the bracket from the Sweet 16 later on. Okay, so you don't want to miss that out. So make sure you guys hit that like button, that subscribe button, the notification bell so you guys can get all the latest content coming out. The off-season content for me is just getting started. And we have more on the way, especially for NFL off-season grades. I can't do it now since it's early. I'm going to wait till after the draft. I might have a couple guests on. I'm working that out right now. You can also give me a follow at Lounge Time Pod on X. I do tweet on March Madness. I did tweet some NFL free agency stuff that went down. So give me a follow at Lounge Time Pod. Help grow that X following for me. You guys can also get YouTube episodes on there as well. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in to Lounge Time. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. I will see you guys on Monday to break down the first weekend of March Madness and some of the thoughts leading into the Sweet 16 matchups. Until then, I'll see you guys on Monday to break down some more college basketball March Madness content. Have a great first round weekend, second round weekend, and I'll see you guys on Monday.